Thanks very much, Jay, and thank yourselves for joining us today. First question we usually get is, what does GFG Resources stand for? And a couple acronyms that come into mind is Go for Gold, which was one of the originators, or Gift from God. And depending on your bend, you may use either of those. I'm the CEO of GFG, founding CEO. I'm a geologist, explorationist, and optimist, and I will make forward-looking statements. One of the challenges we face in the space is lack of discovery, and it's been talked about by some of the presenters here today. And before we go into the details of GFG, I threw this graph up here because it's relevant to all of us. And to me, this is why we put GFG together. It shows discovery trends, and it shows them on the long term. That gray is how many gold ounces are produced per year. The yellow is how many dollars go in the ground. And the green is how many ounces are found. That's the challenge for our space. It's a challenge for investors. It's a challenge to find the next relevant ore body. But this is why we set up GFG. And I think this is a really relevant slide. If you want to change that graph, do something different. Look in belts where you think there's something to be found that's relevant. And if you look at GFG's strategy, we're doing exactly that in Rattlesnake Hills, and we're doing exactly that in Timmins. Tier 1 jurisdictions, North America focused, Wyoming and Timmins. Two sides to this story. Great management team. I formerly ran Claude Resources, joined as their VPX, left as CEO in a very successful transaction. We're looking in Wyoming, we're looking for large systems, Tier 1 mining belts, and we're backed by best-in-class partners like Newcrest, and we're being aggressive. What does aggressive mean? GFG will spend $8.2 million this year. Over half of that is coming out of Newcrest, and over half of that's going into the US, and our market cap is $22 million. 95 million shares out. We trade on the TSX under GFG. We trade OTC, GFGSF. We've got some great shareholders, US Global, obviously some Swiss-based shareholders, Lundin's, Century investors. So Cisco and Probe are shareholders via the transaction where we acquired their Timmins assets. Skin in the game. Look, insiders own 10%. We've bought over 2 million shares in the last 2 years. And technically, you can see there's a very good base in the chart and entry point. We trade between 20 and 25 cents in the last number of quarters. Largely ex-Claude Resources personnel, but these people and our board have bought companies, sold companies, built companies, made discoveries, and generated a lot of value. A list of companies involves very profitable sales that have made our investors great money, and there's some very good stories there. To get into the details, this is 100 million ounces. This is Abitibi of Ontario. GFG is the largest landholder here outside of Goldcorp, Newmont now. We picked this up about a year ago by buying Rapier Gold, purchase and sale transactions. 100 million ounces. There will be more relevant discoveries here. But what are we doing differently and why are we here? There's a lot of till cover. Geological models have evolved, and we really feel this area will yield relevant discovery. And the area in pink is controlled by us. Newmont on both sides of us, IAMGOLD south of us, and other producers in the belt, Pan American and Alamos. And what that means is discovery will be acquired in this belt. I believe this belt will yield relevant discoveries moving forward. This is 60 kilometers across. It's a daunting land position. Each of those target areas are 5 to 10 kilometers in scale, and we've outlined these based on our structural model and our till sampling and are looking at the showings and a good geological compilation, and we're focused on moving these to be drill ready. We've already had some drill targets and economic intercepts in them. This is a neglected belt that sits within trucking distance to Timmins, a 70 million ounce camp. What are we doing differently to make that relevant discovery? We sampled basal till across this entire property. What does that mean? It's giving us an assessment of anything relevant for gold that's present there. We have 500 samples across this belt. What does it show us? Big red triangles and big orange triangles means there's relevant gold there. We've got 5 or 6 indications of strong gold systems working along the Dester-Porcupine fault zone. These have not been historically drill tested. These are new targets generated by GFG in the last 6 months, and we will move to drill test these sequentially through this year and into 2020 as well. I'm going to talk to you about slate rock and GHAN to an extent. But what is relevant here is the scale of the Golden Till. And this is a comparison to Rainy River. And I don't look at the deposit to say necessarily, is it a quality producer right now? It's a higher cost one. I'm looking for gold endowment. Rainy River is a 5 or 6 million ounce gold system, and we have comparable scale, size, and signature to it at a very early stage. Those gold grains are pristine. What does that mean? It means they haven't moved very far. First drilling in Q4 of last year, 19 holes, returned a number of economic intercepts in multiple targets. 21 grams over 1.8 meters in a target area that had historically not even been looked at. These are greenfield discoveries within 20 kilometers of Timmins. There are kilometers of this segment that remain completely untested. This is a 5-kilometer segment of one of our targets on our properties. These are some of the other targets we've generated that you'll see us talk about and test this year. Slate rock is a young Davidson analogy. It's about 2 kilometers long, hosted in the same rocks, strong gold and a felsic intrusive, great looking till signature, 4 drill holes, assays pending. Reeves, 6 by 6 kilometers, good dome analogy, 6 holes, assays pending. GHAN, great till anomaly, 4 holes, assays pending. You get the picture. We've got a lot of irons in the fire. We will spend $2.5 million in Timmins this year. We'll drill 8,000 meters. Expect the second batch of results to come out in June. And we will be back there in September and in Q4 drilling a further 3,500 meters. Big belt, lots of opportunity. The other half of our story is Rattlesnake Hills. Rattlesnake Hills is 100,000 meters. It's in central of drilling, 2 deposits, historically under evolving gold. It's an alkaline gold system. Last September, we brought in Newcrest. And Newcrest committed to a joint venture structure that could see them earn to 75% if they spent $100 million over 10 years. We're in an option phase of that right now. We spent $1.1 million last year. We're looking at budgets this year that are likely going to be 3.5 US in the ground, funded by Newcrest, operated by GFG. Great credibility stamp. You're bringing best in class, getting their expertise into a system they like. About $40 million of historic work in the ground. It's in Wyoming, a great mining jurisdiction. Analogies would be Cripple Creek, Wharf Mine, or even things like Cadia. And that's what Newcrest is looking for. They're looking deeper, they're looking under cover, and they're looking to make tier 1 discoveries. They approached us to do this deal. And if you look at why they're there and the program we're going to execute this year, it's drilling deep. It's looking for a gold-rich porphyry at depth. This is their slide off their technical deck, but it may as well be Rattlesnake Hills. Knowing what they like, we pitched them this target. And we show you the historic drilling. That's 1.5 kilometers across that map. That's 100,000 meters of drilling here. That's not what Newcrest is interested in. They're looking at the system underneath it. They're looking for the gold porphyry, and we showed them gold porphyry intercepts already at 800 meters depth that grade up to 3 grams. That got them excited. And we are stepping out underneath and laterally to those porphyry intercepts, and you're going to start that drilling program in July of this year. We will spend about $3.5 million US, Newcrest funding it, 2 rigs, starting in July, results coming out in Q4. Great partnership, best-in-class people doing something different. So if you look at GFG as a whole, you get a very credible management team that's got a good track record of building value and making discoveries. We've put together these belts throughout a number of cycles in the gold space, and you have to see those as opportunities. Right now is an opportunity in the gold space, whether you're looking at corporate development or you're looking at investing. We've got a great team. We're putting our dollars into the ground. We're well financed to execute our $8 million program this year. And we've got a lot of irons in the fire to make a relevant discovery at either Timmins or at Rattlesnake Hills with Newcrest. So I think you can look forward to a very good news flow and catalyst-rich year for GFG. And I thank you for listening to the story today.